Registered sex offender Richard Cox is indicted for exposing himself to women and girls in Virginia locker rooms. But when an Arlington judge threw out the indictments this year, it put the case in limbo. New tonight, the indictments against Cox have been restored. Our Nick Minock joins us now at the Arlington courthouse, where a hearing on the case just wrapped up. So, Nick, what are you hearing from victims about this new development?
Well, the mothers of those little girls who saw the sex offender naked in the girls' locker rooms in multiple schools here in Arlington County tell me they're relieved that the prosecution can now move forward. Richard Cox says he's a woman. He's biologically a male, and he's a Tier 3 registered sex offender, the most serious kind. On several occasions in 2024, he visited Arlington's Barcroft Sports and Fitness Center, Wakefield High School, and Washington Liberty High School. That's where Cox entered women's locker rooms, undressed, and took showers in front of women and girls.
I was livid. I felt terrible for her and for all those other kids.
After the first day of swim class, this Arlington mother said she and her 9-year-old daughter saw Cox.
We saw an individual who was an individual man, as I saw it, in the women's locker room, completely naked, facing the doorway. So we walked in to see a man changing in the women's locker room. There had to have been at least a dozen other small girls.
Witnesses testified they saw Cox sexually aroused in the locker room. Cox says he's within his right to do this because Arlington Public Schools and the county have a policy that allows people to use locker rooms based on their gender identity. This year, Arlington County Circuit Court Judge Daniel Lopez threw out the indictments because he had issues with the law Cox was being prosecuted under. The Arlington prosecutor appealed. And on Tuesday, the Court of Appeals of Virginia overturned Judge Lopez's decision and restored the indictments. Arlington mothers tell me and their little girls wouldn't have been traumatized had Fairfax County prosecuted Cox. Months before Cox went to Arlington schools, the sex offender repeatedly used women's locker rooms at multiple Fairfax County rec centers and Planet Fitnesses. This video shows he also spent time at a spray park for disabled children, which is against his probation as a sex offender. Fairfax County Commonwealth's attorney Steve Dehghani didn't prosecute, and even though Fairfax County police knew about it, they didn't charge him. The police chief said they couldn't because of the county's locker room policy. Today in court, Richard Cox asked a judge in Arlington County to seal a letter he sent to a judge in the 1990s in which Richard Cox told that judge that he suffers compulsions to expose himself in public places, but the judge denied that request to seal that letter ahead of his trial. We don't know when his new trial date will be. That will be set in 2 weeks from now. Reporting live in Arlington, Nick Minock, 7 News.